For 85 years, planes have photographed this desert. Archaeologists counted every giant drawing they could find. Roughly 430 figures. A spider, a monkey, a hummingbird. Then, in 2024, one AI model looked at those same photos. For 6 months, it found 303 more. A whale holding a knife. Humans with headdresses, severed heads, all hiding in plain sight. Half of what we thought we knew was wrong, and that number is still climbing. This is not a story about aliens. It never was. This is the story of a German woman who spent 50 years with a broom. A historian who looked out an airplane window in 1941. A Japanese professor who partnered with IBM, and a machine that read a desert 1 pixel at a time. By the end, you will understand what the Nazca were really drawing, why we missed most of it for a century, and what else might be whispering at us right now, if we only knew how to listen. Picture the Pampa de Jumana, a high plateau 400 kilometers south of Lima. Almost no rain, almost no wind. The air smells of warm stone and nothing else. No trees, no birds, just the taste of salt on your lips. The ground is covered in small pebbles, coated in iron oxide, a rust-red crust. Underneath lies pale yellow clay. 2,000 years ago, the Nazca people walked this desert. They carried wooden stakes and rope. They moved the pebbles aside. They exposed the lighter soil. That was it. 10 centimeters deep. Just absence. No digging. No carving. No aliens. They made a spider, 46 meters long. A hummingbird, 93 meters wide. A monkey with a spiral tail. They made trapezoids long enough to land a jet on. Then the desert held still and waited. For 2,000 years, almost nothing disturbed it. No rain to wash the lines away. No wind strong enough to refill them. The Pampa became a library. Every figure still open on its page. The first Peruvian to notice was not in the air. He was on foot. In 1927, a young archaeologist named Toribio Mejia Cespe hiked the Nazca foothills. He saw the geometric lines from ground level. He did not call them mysterious. He called them sacred roads. He was 2 years ahead of the airplane era, and essentially correct. Fast forward to June 22nd, 1941, Southern Hemisphere winter solstice. Paul Kosok, a historian from Long Island, was studying ancient irrigation. He took a small prop plane up over the Pampa, engine thundering, window open, cold thin air on his face. He looked down. The setting sun lined up exactly with one of the long lines below. Not by accident, by design. Kosok wrote a sentence that would echo for decades. He called Nazca the largest astronomy book in the world. He was wrong about the astronomy part. Later researchers looked for star patterns and could not find them. But he had found the book. He just misread the cover. There was one woman on the ground who wanted to read it properly. She would spend the rest of her life trying. Her name was Maria Reiche, German-born. A mathematician, she arrived in Peru before the war and never went back. She first saw the lines in 1941, working alongside Kosok. Something in her went still. She never left. In 1946, she moved into the desert, A one-room adobe shack, no electricity, a table, a bed, stacks of star charts, and a kerosene lamp. She ate simply. She drank tea boiled on a small stove. She went to sleep with the sound of the Pampa wind under the door and woke before dawn to start mapping. She swept the figures clean with a broom, one broom after another. For 50 years? Her own words, "I went through so many brooms. Rumors circulated that I might be a witch. People didn't understand me. The children were very scared of me." Imagine that for a moment. A life spent bent over a desert, alone, holding a kitchen broom against the slow return of sand. Children running when they saw you coming. She chased looters off the Pampa with a cane. She paid guards out of her own salary. She lobbied the Peruvian government for decades until UNESCO finally listed the site in 1994. She received Peruvian citizenship, the Order of the Sun. She died in Lima in 1998, aged 95. She is buried on the Pampa she saved. She believed she had protected every single figure the Nazca had left behind. Everyone she knew of, she had. She had no idea. She missed more than half. That is not Maria's failure. That is the limit of human eyes. By 2020, almost 100 years of fieldwork had catalogued roughly 430 figurative geoglyphs, each one verified by human eyes. On paper, on foot, in the sun. Think about that. A century of archaeologists. Planes, helicopters, satellites, grant money, PhDs, careers, 430 figures. The bottleneck of archaeology was never money. It was eyes. You cannot pay a graduate student to stare at 629 square kilometers of aerial photography and not go blind. Enter Professor Masato Sakai, Yamagata University, Japan, director of the Institute of Nazca. He had walked the Pampa for 2 decades, cracked boots, sunburn on the back of his neck. In 2019, working with IBM researchers, his team added 143 new geoglyphs, found with AI assistance. A small first taste, a proof of concept. Then, in 2020, they went bigger. They trained a deep learning model, similar to the ones that recognize faces on your phone. But they had a problem. Most AI needs tens of thousands of examples. Sakai had 430. Every single confirmed figure in human history. That is not enough data. Not even close. So they cheated elegantly. They augmented. They rotated, flipped, and distorted every known figure into hundreds of synthetic variations. They used transfer learning, starting the model from a network that already knew how to see edges and shapes. They tuned custom loss functions to reward finding faint contours. Then, they pointed the model at 10-centimeter resolution photographs of the entire Pampa. 629 square kilometers. The AI flagged 1,309 candidate sites across the Pampa. Archaeologists drove out to check them, jeeps bouncing over gravel roads, tablet in one hand, water bottle in the other, GPS pin on the screen, sun high enough to burn through a cotton shirt. They climbed ridges, they squatted in the dust, they brushed pebbles aside, the way the Nazca had done it 2,000 years before. From September 2022 to February 2023, 6 months. 303 previously unknown figurative geoglyphs confirmed. Sakai's own words. The use of AI in research has allowed us to map the distribution of geoglyphs more quickly and accurately. And later, the geoglyphs in good condition were immediately recognized for what they were. The damaged ones required detailed fieldwork. Let that sink in. Before, archaeologists had to check about 600 spots to confirm one real figure. Now, they checked 36, a 16 times acceleration. In September 2024, Sakai and IBM published the results in the journal PNAS, Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. Peer-reviewed, boring title. Earth-shaking number. The catalogue of known figures nearly doubled overnight, from about 430 to about 733. And the strangest part was not the count. It was what the new figures looked like. The famous giants, the hummingbird, the spider, the monkey, average 90 meters wide. You need a plane to see them. They cluster near long ritual trapezoids. The new figures are different. They average 9 meters. Small, worn by wind, they sit right beside the old walking trails, an average of 43 meters from the nearest footpath, close enough to see as you walked by. And the subjects changed. 81% of the new figures are human. Warriors, humanoids in headdresses, domesticated llamas, decapitated heads, an orca clutching a knife, the same killer whale the Nazca painted on their pottery, the executioner of trophy heads, finally carved into the land itself. This was never one message. It was two. The giants were community ceremony, animals and spirits, arranged near ritual trapezoids, meant to be seen from a ridge or from the sky by gods. The small ones were roadside shrines, personal stories told to whoever walked past on the trail. Sakai put it this way: their meaning is formed through their combinations. The figures are not independent icons. They are words in a sentence, and the sentence is the whole Pampa. For 100 years, we had read one book and missed the other. The Nazca were not making a star chart. They were making a landscape you had to walk through. 1,000 years of graphic storytelling, scratched 10 centimeters deep. And now the desert is dying. The same climate change that brings us wildfires is bringing unfamiliar rain to the Pampa. El Nino floods cut mudslides through the trapezoids. Illegal mining nibbles at the edges. Most of Sakai's new figures sit outside the 1994 UNESCO boundary. The protected zone was drawn around what we knew. We now know twice as much. The Nazca themselves tell us how this ends. Around 500 AD, they cut down the horango trees that anchored their irrigation. An El Nino came. The floods gutted their fields. The civilization unraveled. They wrote the first chapter of the climate playbook. We are reading it while the rest of their message erodes around us. Here is the part that stopped me. The Nazca were not hiding anything. The figures were always there. People walked past them for generations. Maria Reiche swept near some of them. Satellites photographed them. Archaeologists stood beside them. The desert was speaking the whole time. We just did not know how to listen. AI did not replace Maria Reiche. It finished her sentence. Her 50 years of careful mapping became the training data that taught a machine to see. Without her brooms, there is no dataset. Without the dataset, no discovery. So when you hear AI found 303 new geoglyphs, that is not really what happened. What happened is that a German mathematician, a Japanese professor, and a thinking machine together learned to read a desert. And here is the uncomfortable, beautiful part. If half of what the Nazca left was invisible to a century of human attention, what else is the world still trying to tell us? What are we walking past right now? Maybe the lesson is not that AI sees more than we do. Maybe the lesson is that we were never looking as carefully as we thought. And maybe the next mountain, the next jungle, the next ocean floor is also waiting, patient, unchanged, already written, already signed. We just haven't swept the dust off yet. The Nazca carved their memory into a desert and lost half of it to our blindness. They did not know what they were losing. 2,000 years ago, on the other side of the world, a Roman patrician lifts a silver goblet. The wine is sweet, impossibly sweet. In the kitchen, a slave stirs grape juice in a bronze pot, reducing it slowly over a low flame. The pot is lined with lead. The syrup is called defrutum. He does not know. His children do not know. The empire does not know. Every goblet of good wine in Rome carries a quiet, metallic grief. And somewhere, a physician is beginning to notice that the senator's hands have started to shake.